Hey, what's up everybody? Jubitaz back with another episode. So given how popular Naruto is and how it was like the most popular anime in the West for a while, it's almost inevitable that you'd come across a lot of outrageous takes or opinions about the series. Now, I've been a chronic internet user for a while, so I've seen my fair share of Naruto rage bait. That being takes that are so appalling that they make your blood boil. And after I got sick of arguing with people that won't listen to facts, logic, or reason, I decided what better way to channel that rage than making a new video. Today, I'll be going over the biggest Naruto rage bait, consisting of posts or comments from across the internet, YouTube, Instagram, Reddit, and I will also be giving each a rating based on how furious the take or the person arguing the take got me. Now this is a new idea I'm experimenting with, so depending on how this video does, I might make some follow-ups, as there's really no shortage of rage bait in the Naruto community. Now before we start, I gotta admit that some of these comments have really got me feeling some type of way. To see such outrageous takes, like, I feel kinda angry and depressed at the same time, low-key. And when I'm feeling down, there's only one person I can trust to pull me out of the depth of despair. The world's best therapist, Naruto Uzumaki. Now I know what you guys are gonna say, but Naruto's a fictional character. How are you gonna interact with him? Well, thanks to Polybuzz, you actually can. It's an app that lets you chat with literally any character you can think of. So, let's have a quick chat. Hey Naruto, big fan. I've been feeling down lately and I'm low-key losing my faith in humanity. Do you have any tips on how to keep my head up? I know you've dealt with a lot of depression throughout your life.
I've been there more times than I can count. The key is to remember you're not alone. Talk to someone you trust, like your family or friends, and keep fighting for what you believe in.
That's really good advice, thanks. One more thing, when nothing works out in life and you start losing faith in humanity, how do you pull yourself out of that dark place? When those around you say negative comments or belittle you?
I used to think the same way, but I learned that true strength comes from within. Don't let their negativity define you. You have to stand tall and show them that you won't be brought down by their words. Remember your goals, your dreams, and what you're fighting for.
Do you have any friends you've had to work hard just to keep in your life?
Yeah, I do. My best friend Sasuke, we've been through a lot together. There were times when I thought he'd never come back, but I never gave up on him. Just like I won't give up on you either. Keep fighting, Jubitaz.
Thanks Naruto, I knew I could count on you. Also, I wanted to ask, do you have any comments for my viewers? They're all big fans of yours.
Tell them to never give up on their dreams. No matter how tough things get, they should always believe in themselves and keep moving forward. Believe it, and remember, I'm always here if you need to talk or just want to chat.
Thanks a lot. Okay, you heard it here folks. Use the promo code JUBE22 so you too could get Talk No Jutsu. Enjoy a free trial, links in the description. Okay, I think I'm ready. Let's get to it. Starting off with this one Instagram argument I got into about Jiraiya, and it started off rather tame. I basically told this dude that Itachi was a double agent. Why would he share his true intentions? He said, oh, well, he told Kisame he'd lose. Fuck does that have to do with his true intentions? And then I get to explain the whole Itachi double agent shtick. Itachi also told Kisame that he didn't harbor any feelings for his former village, which is obvious cap. He didn't want to fight a Leaf ally, and Orochimaru openly admitted that he was inferior to Itachi. Orochimaru is at bare minimum equal to base Jiraiya. So you can't argue that base Jiraiya would defeat Itachi unless he was like sick or dying. You know, classic Naruto boilerplate. Then bro says, oh no, Jiraiya's far superior to Orochimaru because of the whole if he knew our secret then he would have won comment made by Pain to jerk off Jiraiya after his death. Now I already tackled this in my misconceptions video, but I decided to explain what Pain most likely meant by that statement. That if Jiraiya found out the secret that the Pains were just puppets being remotely controlled, that he would try to track down the real Pain just like Naruto did, and not even bother engaging the 6 paths. Jiraiya was at his wit's end facing just 3 paths, so to think that he could defeat all 6 paths in a head-on confrontation is a bit of an overreach. Now, so far it's been casual convos and arguments that I've heard before, but it started to become rage bait when bro doubled down on his stance. Apparently I was twisting Pain's words to fit my own argument. He literally said that if Jiraiya knew all of his abilities coming into the fight, he would have won. Naruto knew Pain's abilities, that's why he ended up winning. Jiraiya struggled against the paths due to the reason that he didn't know anything about them. Your argument doesn't even make any sense, bud. First off, Pain never said abilities, he said secret. Pain's secret. Pain's secret isn't each individual path's abilities, it's that he's being remotely controlled and that the real one is not amongst them. And this was my reply to him. Lol. Pause and read it, cause I'm not gonna repeat everything I said. I was starting to get kinda ticked cause of how outrageous the Jiraiya wank was. Like, the statement never implied that Jiraiya just needed to know each individual path's ability to defeat them. Like, sure, it would have helped, but even Naruto, when he had Katsuyu tell him each individual Pain's ability, he ended up losing, and he had a more advanced Sage Mode than Jiraiya, and even more backup than Jiraiya too. And Pain was weakened when he fought Naruto. But then he just keeps going on and on. That doesn't mean that he couldn't defeat all of the paths before revival. Jiraiya himself said he couldn't do that. You said Jiraiya wouldn't have been able to defeat them with Sage Mode. Why? Because he didn't know the abilities, hence why again? Pain admitted that they would have lost if Jiraiya had come fully informed. For fuck's sake. Pain said had Jiraiya knew their secret. Their secret! Pain's secret wasn't that the Diva path possessed gravitational abilities, or that the Naraka path could revive the King of Hell. It was the fact that Nagato telepathically controlled the paths. Like, I really see no chance of Jiraiya soloing all 6 paths, even if he knew each individual path's abilities. Like, are you saying if he knew the Diva, Naraka, and Human path's abilities there and then he would have just soloed? Cause Jiraiya by that point knew half of their abilities, and he had no confidence in taking all 6 down. And then the worst part is that he says this, that Jiraiya's not even his favorite character. So this wasn't even a favoritism bias, just genuinely did not understand the statement that Pain made regarding Jiraiya. I mean, I can't blame the guy, he probably didn't expect to be debating a Naruto YouTuber that has thoroughly analyzed the series from top to bottom, but it is wild that there's still some people in this day and age that believe that Jiraiya would have soloed the 6 paths of Pain had he just knew their abilities. Overall, I give it a 6 out of 10. I was personally triggered, if only because of how oblivious my mans was. But I guess a casual Naruto viewer could make the same mistake. And now moving on to another Instagram post by this one content creator named Nick Ainsworth, where he talked about this one hypothetical matchup. The 4 Hokages at their prime versus the top 5 Uchiha with a few buffs.
I'm gonna tell you like this, I know my answer. It's gonna be them right there, because who's gonna beat Hashirama? No matter how many buffs you give them, they are going to die. At least with Minato and Haruzan, you gonna get some class. But with these 2 brothers here, they gonna show you.
And it wasn't just him, it seems like the common sentiment from the comments were along those lines. Hashirama and Tobirama alone are mopping the Uchiha. 2 Flying Raijin users in the same battle is diabolical. Flying Raijin was created to overpower the Sharingan's enhanced perception. So let's go over these Uchiha and see if they're really getting cooked. Now watch why I'm calling this rage bait. They got a live Prime Madara, a healthy adult EMS Itachi, DMS Obito, DMS Shisui, and War Arc Sasuke. That's apparently the team that's gonna get cooked by the 4 Kage, even if they outnumber them apparently. First off, let's start with Madara. I don't know if they're aware of this, but Alive Prime Madara is the one that was revived in the war with the one Renegon. You know, the one that defeated Hashirama, Tobirama, KCM Naruto, Sasuke, and all of the tailed beasts simultaneously. Granted that Hashirama and Tobirama were nerfed as Edos, but not to the extent that they could make up the difference of KCM2 Naruto, EMS Sasuke, and all of the tailed beasts. Prime Hashirama is a beast, don't get me wrong, but that Hashirama never faced Madara with the Renegon. and I've argued for this in my misconceptions video, but I've always believed that Hashirama and Madara were a lot closer to each other than people think. They were rivals after all, and Hashirama's only outlier was the 1,000-armed Buddha statue and maybe the deity gates. But even Madara broke out of the deity gates like they were nothing when he was revived. But let's assume that Prime alive Madara would get stomped by Hashirama, which is debatable. I mean, technically Prime alive Madara is 10 Tails Rinnegan Madara, but I think that there's no need to go that far, as he would obviously solo the 4 Hokage by himself at that point. But anyways, let's say Hashirama takes Madara, then what? Peak Tobirama solos the rest? Like, are you guys serious? Are y'all forgetting who's on the Uchiha side? Did y'all forget how cracked DMS Obito is? Even without 6-path Sage Mode, DMS Obito was so broken that Kishimoto couldn't afford to give him both eyes until he was dying. And then he gave Kakashi both eyes, and Kakashi was able to use them to put the moves on Kaguya and mess her up really bad. Obito was already a menace and more than capable of taking on Tobirama with just one eye. So to give him both eyes, I know the Tobirama tards love to say, oh well, he tagged Jubito and he has Flying Raijin, and Minato tagged Obito with Flying Raijin, but A, Jubito did not have Kamui, and B, Minato faced a 14-year-old Obito and only managed to tag him because of the Flying Raijin level 2. And when Obito and Kakashi used both Kamui simultaneously, they were able to outspeed 10 Tails Madara. So neither Tobirama nor Minato will be able to touch this man's. And considering that he'll have both MS, Obito would be able to use the Kamui Shuriken. I truly think the better matchup for him would be Casey and Minato. Tobirama would get bodied, honestly. And even then, Minato wouldn't do too well either. And Obito would just use the Kamui Shuriken to fuck up the Kurama avatar like Kakashi did to Kaguya's rabbit transformation. I think a healthy adult Itachi with EMS should be more than capable of handling Prime Tobirama. Like, the only weakness we see for Itachi really is his stamina and health issues, so you take that away and give him an EMS, then he can just spam the Susanoo, possibly even evolving it into a perfect Susanoo. And I know you guys won't seriously try to argue that a perfect Susanoo armored Itachi with the Totsuka blade and the Yara mirror isn't getting the dub against Tobirama, right? I mean, I know Tobirama gets wanked to oblivion by the fanbase, and most people assume he can just solo any Uchiha because he defeated Izuna, who was featless. But Izuna didn't have the EMS. Itachi is already considered a top tier shinobi, so you give him the stamina. And the perfect Susanoo, there's literally nothing Tobirama could do. His best bet would be trying to off Itachi before he activates the Susanoo, which would be a very disingenuous argument, and Tobirama never even does that in character. And then you'll have War Arc EMS Sasuke that fought Jubito alongside KCM Naruto versus Hiruzen, whose best feat is stalemating Guru Zetsu. I think it would be fair to say that even Prime Hiruzen would be overwhelmed having to face a perfect Susanoo. That is unless you think that Prime Hiruzen's actually stronger than Prime Sage Hashirama, which is more of a meme than anything really. And even then, you're left with DMS Shisui, who's a wild card. And you know, if he plays his cards right, he might get Hashirama on the Uchiha side. And then, what would the Hokage do? The only reason the Hokage don't get immediately slaughtered in the first place is because of Hashirama. So yes. And most of these comments downplay the Uchiha to a disgusting extent. Especially this one comment. Like Hashirama and Tobirama alone would solo one Rinnegan alive Madara, DMS Obito, EMS healthy adult Itachi, plus War Arc Sasuke, and DMS Shisui. I'd say Madara and Obito are more than enough to clear the brothers in my opinion. But anyways, I'll give this rage bait a 6 out of 10 cause peak Hashirama is cracked, but he's not that cracked. And now we'll move on to our most beloved platform, that being YouTube of course. And this time I'll look at the comments on my own video. Now, my recent video, the Naruto Sakura retcon, has sparked a lot of conversation, both positive and negative, which was inevitable really considering how much of a shit show the main ships of the series are. Now, this one comment in particular triggered me a lot because of how absurd its premise was. Let's read it together. Kishimoto's wife didn't even know how the characters looked like according to Kishimoto himself. That means that she doesn't even read the manga. Ha 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 ha, why crying about this in 2025? And then I said that that's kinda absurd trying to argue that Kishimoto's wife doesn't know how the characters look like when she's married to one of the most famous mangaka. So what? Everyone on earth knows what her husband's characters look like except for her. And bro stuck to the idea that Kishimoto's wife has no idea what the characters look like, which I'm sorry, I don't buy. It's a silly argument to make. Kishimoto literally stated in an interview that she didn't know how the models for the characters look like. When you're going to use an interview for your arguments, then use Kishimoto's entire statement instead of taking what you like and leaving out the rest. Let me clarify what this individual is referring to. In an interview with Anime News Network, Kishimoto says something along the lines of, "I almost caused a rift in my own household too, because my wife was very upset that Naruto didn't get together with Sakura. In fact, she complained quite vehemently to me. I told her that Hinata was modeled after her." So this could imply that she didn't know how Hinata looked like, but the thing is, what I was arguing wasn't that Kishimoto's wife followed the manga or was even an avid fan, but that she couldn't have not known what the main characters looked like. I mean, Naruto is one of the most renowned franchises in the world, so trying to argue that the creator's wife doesn't know how the characters look like when even those that haven't seen the series know how some of the characters look like at least Team 7? Sure, Hinata's in the main cast, but how often do you really see her in the manga? How many posters of Naruto do you see Hinata in? She only makes it to the last posters really. I myself started Naruto in 2020, and well before that I was familiar with how all of the members of Team 7 looked like, as well as Pain and Toby. So to try to say that Kishimoto's wife doesn't know how any of her husband's globally known manga characters look like when everyone on the planet does is, like I said before, just absurd. So is his wife supposed to know everything? No, but she has got to know how Team 7 look like at least. Now this user also left a long comment that was triggered because I compared Naruto's feelings for Sakura to Sakura's feelings for Sasuke. So I take it bro's a Sasu-Saku shipper. What I said was that both crushes were the same at first, which is a comment that I stand by. Now how they evolved is a different story that I don't want to get into now. And like I said in the video, the Sasu-Saku fans will go to the moon and bring up the tiniest glimpses to try to imply that Sasuke was always interested in Sakura. I will say that this guy is reaching with his comment, and just like how Sakura cared so much about Sasuke that she was willing to abandon the village and go rogue with him, Naruto cared so much about Sakura that he was willing to bring Sasuke back to make her happy. Anyways, that part isn't what I found as rage bait, and I find shitting on the Sasu-Saku ship to be low-hanging fruit. The ship is toxic and terrible enough without my 2 cents, and everyone's constantly going after the Sasu-Saku shippers, so no wonder they're always triggered and lashing out. But that comment, that Kishimoto's wife didn't even know how any of his characters looked like, is a 3 out of 10 rage bait in my opinion. If you guys want to see me make a video about Sasuke and Sakura, then let me know in the comments, cause we gotta move on. Now, let's move out of our comfort zone and a bit into enemy territory. Now, as one of the most popular animes of all time, it is inevitable that there will be a strong community of haters as well. Now, there's a huge distinction between the haters and those that have legitimate criticisms of Naruto, but still appreciate it for the undeniable cinematic and storytelling masterpieces that it provides. And then there are others that are just on the smear train. I found this one video in particular called Naruto is Trash, and now the title and the thumbnail alone are obvious rage bait, but frankly I don't want to platform this creator, so I'll just bring up some of the more rage bait comments that I found in there. And let me tell you that it was a Naruto hate cesspool. Let's start with this one. I feel like most people love Naruto in a form of nostalgia only, because for most 90s kids, Naruto was probably the first anime they watched. Okay, labels aside, the concept was something really cool, hand signs, jutsu, or whatever, very appealing at the time, but is it a good anime, manga? I don't think so. Well, I guess since Sonalida's 003 said it, then it's not good. Fuck the billions of people around the world that think it's a masterpiece. Guilty pleasures are a thing, so it's fine people love something which formed their childhood, to be it good or bad. Oh my god. I hear this darn criticism all the time. Oh, Naruto's only good because of nostalgia. People only like it because they grew up with it. Now me, I watched it at 2020 during the pandemic, past 20 years of age, and there was actually a whole new wave of fans that picked up the show during the pandemic because of being quarantined all day and having so much spare time that millions of people around the world were like, guess we got the time to pick up this popular long-ass series, Naruto. That's what caused the surge in Naruto YouTube videos in the 2020s, despite the show having ended for years. But no! It's apparently all just nostalgia. My problem is a lot of people consider it a masterpiece when it's not even good. Sure, it gets this popular, but it apparently has no appeal according to this person. It may have been fun to watch when you were 8, blah blah blah. If they tried to rewatch it, blah blah blah, they die of how illogical and stupid it actually is. Okay, wow. Here, let me share with you guys the age statistics of the viewers of my channel. Wow, look at that. No 8-year-olds. Unless every single YouTuber lies about their age. Honestly, I'm not even gonna try to debunk this one because there's really nothing to debunk. It's not like she's making any points, she's literally just talking shit, trashing a show that has so many fans, and that fact alone renders most of her points void. Apparently, the millions upon millions of fans are all just 8-year-olds. Like, it's one thing to have legitimate criticism, but this is just low. I did want to share it because it's the definition of rage bait, and it also has like 31 likes, which is just sad. I'll give this one a 2 out of 10. Anyways, let's move on to more debunkable rage. Another comment on this video. Why I hate Naruto. The author was untalented like Naruto and ripped off Hunter x Hunter. Yes, buddy. One of the most globally renowned mangaka is just untalented. Also, I think I speak for most anime fans when I say that the art and the Naruto manga in particular were exceptionally good in comparison to other mangas. Like for example, despite what mainstream opinion may be on Naruto versus One Piece in terms of story, most would agree that Naruto has a more appealing art style, with Oda's being more eccentric, so untalented. Also, I'm sick of the Hunter x Hunter ripoff comments. I get that it's likely due to Kurapika's Red-Eyed clan having been massacred as well, but it's not like it was the same thing with the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha massacre had this much more complex and deep story behind it, unlike Hunter x Hunter, where the Phantom Troop just killed the clan to sell their eyeballs. It's not like the big three didn't get their inspiration from Dragon Ball, so to call Naruto just a Hunter x Hunter ripoff is a bit of an overreach. Inspiration's not the same thing. Naruto's made OP and he had no character development and never does hard work. Oh my god, are you serious? This is such a bullshit statement. Made OP? Was he not getting schooled at first? I don't want to get into this because it's like a very big debate, but despite having the Nine Tails, Naruto couldn't properly channel its power until the last couple of chapters. And I think compared to other shonen protagonists, Naruto was definitely not inherently OP for no reason. He's not like Luffy that was kicking everyone's ass from the first episode. Never does hard work. He seems to conveniently miss all the training arcs that Naruto had to go through. Like, there was this one arc where he used thousands of shadow clones for weeks to learn one jutsu that he was told that he couldn't use anymore after he mastered it. Yes, sure, Naruto's lazy. The same guy that couldn't go to sleep because he was so obsessed with catching up to Sasuke that even Kakashi, his trainer, couldn't sleep because he had to keep an eye on him in case the Nine Tails resurfaced. Naruto has Kurama, borrowed chakra from nature, borrowed chakra from Ashura. Oh my god, this guy's just stupid. Okay, relax, breathe. Now, I'm not gonna go into how having Kurama was not inherently a good thing, and every time he used it he risked being taken over by the fox, which this guy seems to be conveniently missing, but the whole point was that the only power-up that you could argue was just handed to Naruto is the 6-path Sage mode, which was pretty much at the end of the story, and until then, Naruto had to earn all his power-ups. Badly written female characters, multiple plot holes, yeah, what anime doesn't have that? Broken generic buffs, again, what anime doesn't have that? Honestly, it feels like all anime are immune from these criticisms, but Naruto, it's like held to a different standard. The one thing that I can criticize about Naruto's character is how overtly idealistic and naive he is, but to say that he was just given his power-ups and didn't have to work for them is bogus. Grr. I think I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10 as it did trigger me quite a bit. Okay, now, going back to Naruto-friendly territory, and our first Reddit post. This one is named Tobirama was stronger than Madara. Lol, talk about the Lulu. Okay, let's get to reading. First things first, Madara was not on the same level as Hashirama. Okay. Hashirama was several levels above Madara. Yeah, I don't know about that. They were rivals. In their first fight, the only one who did not want to kill the other was Hashirama. Madara, even with the advantage of having a Susanoo-powered Kurama, was not enough to defeat Hashirama. I mean, I've already went over this many times. Hashirama has one jutsu that's an outlier to his power that is way beyond pre-Rinnegan Madara, that being the 1000-armed Buddha statue. And otherwise, Hashirama was stronger, sure, but not by a massive margin. Now this is where we get to the real delusion. In the 4th war, when Madara defeated Tobirama, he said, "I've always wanted to do this, so why you never do it?" Because he didn't have the Rinnegan Hashirama sells and stolen Hashirama Senjutsu at the time. Sure, buddy. Madara needs the Rinnegan to defeat Tobirama. LMAO. Look, Hashirama was around the entire time. Do you really think he would have allowed Madara to kill his younger brother? Like, you yourself said that Hashirama was stronger than him, so logically, he didn't kill Tobirama because A, Hashirama would have never allowed that, and B, they just formed the peace treaty between the Uchiha and the Senju, so killing the Senju leader's right-hand man, how do you think that would impact the village? Madara may have been spiteful, but not stupid. But we know why Tobirama didn't kill Madara all those years, because of Hashirama. Okay, come on. So you acknowledge that Tobirama didn't try to kill Madara because of Hashirama, but can't acknowledge the same reasoning for why Madara didn't kill Tobirama? You really think that Madara couldn't kill Tobirama because he wasn't strong enough and Tobirama could have killed Madara all along and just spared him because of his brother? Are you really this deluded? Oh my god, this is making me cringe. Do I really have to explain how much stronger Madara is than Tobirama? Tobirama, the one that was taken out by 20 elite shinobis, gonna kill the one-man army Madara that fought the entire shinobi alliance, the 5 Kage, the Bijou, without breaking a sweat. All this time could have been killed by Tobirama. You see, that's what really frustrates me about the Tobirama tards. Like, I acknowledge he's a powerful Kage, I really do. But then you guys always have to go a step further and say, oh well, he easily one-shots Itachi. Oh, he easily one-shots Pain. Oh, he spared Madara because of his brother. Oh, he could throw a 4 Margekyo wielding, Susanoo having Uchiha. Like, are you people insane? Jesus Christ. And they ask me why I think Tobirama's overhyped. I guess Tobirama's the new Solo King, huh? Question, why did Kaguya change dimensions when she appeared in front of Team 7? Well, obviously because she had to get away from Tobirama so he doesn't solo her. Lol, you see my point. Anyways, this one, it gets a 4 out of 10 because of how deluded he is, and most of the comments seem to recognize that. And now we got one more rage bait to tackle, as this video's turned out a lot longer than I expected. So here's one Reddit post which said, which characters were perhaps more important than Naruto and Sasuke during the 4th Great Ninja War? So, you know, big questions, because realistically, there were none, except maybe the Sage of the Six Paths. But then we get to this absurd comment. Well, even the name makes it sound like a troll account. But anyways, let's go. Itachi, Ino, and Shikamaru. Without Itachi, blah blah blah, Hokage wouldn't be revived. Without Ino, blah blah blah, saves the day by making the Jubi misfire. Anyways, here's the rage bait part. However, I think the single most important is Shikamaru. Let me catch my breath. I'm sorry. What? The most important character in the war, more important than Naruto, Sasuke, and Itachi, is Shikamaru? Have you lost your mind? Oh my god. Let's continue. Outgunned, undermanned, and faced with statistically impossible odds, he makes it happen and brought time before the Kage showed. Like, this guy can't be serious. Shikamaru, in the late war arc, is he really saying that Shikamaru was the most important character in the war arc? For what? Having one plan that relied on several other factors that colossally failed at the end? Like, it didn't even hold Madara or Obito back for a second. And basically B was carrying the entire plan. And like, the same dude refused to elaborate. Because, simply put, Shikamaru didn't do shit in the late war. His best feats were some speech and the plan that at best held the Jubi back for a literal second. And then bro has the audacity to say this. No Shikamaru, they fall flat and die before the Kages show up. Yeah, sure. It was Shikamaru that stopped the Jubi. Unbelievable. He played his role and came up big when the power players couldn't deliver. How's that dick riding is beyond me. Is this guy for real? How's that dick riding? How's it dick riding to call Shikamaru the most important player in the war? More important than both Naruto and Sasuke and everyone else, when all he literally did was come up with a plan that didn't succeed at all and relied on everyone else? How's that not dick riding? It is textbook definition. This is insane. And like, the worst part is, it actually got a lot of upvotes. So people are actually backing this invalid point. So I think that as rage baits, I'll give this one a 7 out of 10, as it actually has a lot of upvotes despite being extremely false and biased. Anyways, these have been some of the biggest Naruto rage baits that I could find. I mean, I figured that instead of raging at my computer or smashing my head against the wall, I could record my reactions and takes so that you guys could at least have some fun time watching them. Now, if you have any disagreements with what I said, then be sure to leave that in the comments. Or if you got some interesting rage bait yourself and want to share it, then you can leave it down there too. And if you want to see me tackle some more rage bait in the future, then please be sure to let me know. As I've said before, there's an endless amount of rage bait on the internet. But anyways, this has been enough rage bait for today. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next episodes.